The Ziggs mid, how is it affected as we go into the second game? Like, you talk about diversifying styles and at least what goals we should be looking at for top esports. And there are a lot of questions there. I'll get you to explain it to me in a quick second as how they bridge early to mid. What happens from there? Because we've got a Ziggs on Summoner's Rift, and it's a Ziggs in the mid lane. We hyped the mid lane matchup as the invade comes through early.
And it's a Ziggs invading level 1.
Yeah. You played with me a lot, you know.
Sadly.
In the LPL, in Chinese solo queue, what do you do? Say it.
I don't want to say it.
You invade. That's right. You always invade. It doesn't matter who you have. But Top are just going to back away. They've got a couple of deep wards towards the blue side of the enemy OMG jungle.
But let's break down these comps. Let's try to break down these comps.
Start with top esports for me.
So when you look at the side of top esports, we do expect Ziggs to just want to farm in the mid lane. The peculiar part comes where you have Renekton with Elise, so this is a really strong duo that you want to play around in Snowball. But you also have Varus with the Leona, which means that if you're in a scenario where you're pushing, you're very vulnerable to the enemy jungler. So you have these two side lanes on opposite side of the map that really want jungle attention.
Okay. And I see now that with, you know, bottom side start here for FLICKR as well. Towards that bottom side will be the start. Now, just a reminder for everyone as well, we've seen a lot more Halo Blades Kai'Sa. If we've seen Kai'Sa, that has been the rune to take.
It's just so strong in the early game, setting you up for those 4 plasma stacks, you know, your strong passive damage. So becoming very common in the LPL if you do want to run a late game scaling option like the Kai'Sa. And setting up what OMG want to do, it'd be really nice if FLICKR can find either early ganks mid or bot. Because we talked about, you have two very immobile carries that if you can punish once, if you get flash off Varus, if you get flash off of Ziggs, walking up in lane becomes so dangerous.
And remember as well that FLICKR hasn't been, you know, with Icon. That hasn't been the lane, I should say, that he's focused in the past. It's been about the top side. So that identifies a change that needs to come through. And there you go, Halo Blades trade here. With level 2 hit first by the bottom lane of OMG. Photic going to trade right back onto Cold, but just the danger of the Kai'Sa, very apparent in that quick window.
Kai'Sa's passive damage is just so strong with that plasma that if you can get off those 4 hits, it's so strong.
Good trade on tonight in the mid lane, but minions at this point do more.
Yeah, just kind of both players slapping each other, saying, hey, you know, we're just kind of like feeling each other out, seeing how this game's going. Doesn't really mean anything, honestly.
Love Curse waiting back in this top lane. We switch camera angles at the perfect time.
It does look like 369 is trying to set up the wave for a dive, and we do already see Kai'Sa heading up there. He is on the Elise, so diving with the repel is very easy. But
spotted out by a Warden, Kai'Sa thinks the better of it, even with this massive wave. Curse still going to back away. He doesn't know where this Elise is anymore. And with that added pressure, a bit of extra damage on the turret for 369. That big wave denied partially too. Top side control versus bottom. You set up that FLICKR wanted to be here.
If FLICKR can, even if it's not going to kill, if you can blow flash from Photic.
And Chocho goes in with the Zenith Blade. Now can SMLZ survive a flash onto the 80 carry from FLICKR. The flash away from Photic. He lives with both his summoners gone. Yeah, that snipe was very real, but Photic just far enough away. His teleport's coming in as well. Kai'Sa now roams all the way to the bottom side. The flash in is here as well as FLICKR makes his escape route known, but Photic comes back in. Icon a little bit late to the show, and the 5th teleport as Icon gets the kill. Now has the flash, but 369 in the middle of it. This is top esports all the time as SMLZ and Cold are the last left here. Curse didn't TP. He didn't want to join that fight. And Top Esports already won it.
Top Esports surprisingly coming out ahead because of Chocho's engage, which forced FLICKR to have to blow flash very early on to even get in range of Photic. So Photic was able to flash away safely. They weren't able to follow up. And then we just saw numbers advantage on the side of Top Esports coming out ahead in that trade.
Kai'Sa going from Scuttle all the way to the bottom side. That was a direct route there from the Elise in the jungle.
This was our question too. How does Kai'Sa cover both sides of the map at once?
Yeah.
And here we see it. Again, Chocho goes in. FLICKR has to flash to get in range.
And then look at, I'm pointing because look at the Elise. Look at the path. The whole play just keeps walking down.
But it's all about how FLICKR had to blow flash to even get in range of Photic since they were all inning OMG's bot lane. And here we just see OMG coming out ahead because they're investing more resources into the bot lane. We already saw Knight come down, and now 369 coming down on the Renekton. They come out ahead 2 for 1.
And you've got a kill on the top side now, and a kill onto Photic, who blew both his summoners. Held on to them for a while, by the way, as 369 says, "Hey, hacker, what are you doing here?" As Icon, who's now going to say hello as well. There's a flag and drag. It misses. A good sidestep from 369. Has the Q and the prey available. The ultimate from Knight does a bit of damage, and Hacker has to walk away. But you can see when the Renekton stacks up the passive, healing is a bit too much to deal with.
You should feel good as 369 just being able to get out of that. We see how the Ziggs works in this comp. We said, hey, top esports need to cover both of their side lanes. When you do have that bomb on off cooldown, it is very easy to just give either protection, more damage to either 369 or Photic.
Now Icon walked up. He backed away as well while Knight is here. Just a reminder, if people haven't seen Ziggs in a while, remember Satchel Charge still exists. And in a turret plating meta, that's still pretty bonkers. So 160 gold per plate. And Knight is going to get the first one here.
Now we just see on our mini-map Karsa going back and forth between top and bot lane. Again, it is just making sure that these strong lanes can do their job. Then you get into mid-game with an advantage when you do have things like an Elise, like an Renekton, who really do need to be ahead to kind of abuse that advantage.
We go back to what we're talking about. You said Karsa needs to cover multiple lanes. Well, he started off the game here already covering multiple lanes. Plus, good deep vision here already from top esports on the top side of the map where that Renekton sits against an Ornn. Karsa's bot, he's dealing with Hacker. He's got a level lead. Everything going right here in game 2.
He has a level lead, but one thing we need to keep our eyes on is that now Curse does have TP advantage. OMG can look to maybe either force a gank bot or force a fight a dragon, and Curse will have the priority to get there first.
A great point, because Curse with Call of the Forge God around these objectives, we've seen very big ultimate and very, very key. Knight doesn't have his ulti yet available. As well, the Mega Inferno Bomb, about 20 seconds off cooldown to note 2.
Especially when we talked about top esports don't have any peeling tools. You open up Call of the Forge God, you knock up Knight or Photic, it should be relatively easy for Hacker, for Icon, for SMLZ to jump in on you.
Look at Curse. Little Dominus going to be used here, but no longer has the ult advantage. As onto 369, clap him once, clap him twice. Curse was watching the Shy last night. 369 didn't have his flash available, but now Curse doesn't either.
Despite Curse almost getting that solo kill, I still think that's a relative win for the side of top esports, or not having that Call of the Forge God now makes it very hard for you to try and force a skirmish, where that really is Ornn's only tool available in these team fights.
He could be in a bit of trouble in the top lane here. Karsa's made himself known, and with the help of the yummy lettuce in the river here, 369 back to half health with the ability to Q and heal up too. So Curse now, we're in a pretty bad position.
I really like this coming out from TES, synchronizing the start of your Herald with the recall from your bot lane so they're not in a dangerous position. You are going to be able to get this from Curse's pressure, and it does look like Photic will get down to bot in time for OMG not to be able to get anything from this, maybe other than one plate.
One or maybe two. No, only one. You're right. So, advantage still here for top esports. Photic sits in lane while Chocho goes to the top side with his swiftness pickup, which is actually curious. I mean, we can talk about it while we're slowing down a little bit. We're not slowing down. While we do have a lull. Swiftness got buffed by the extra movement speed, if I'm not mistaken. So
Swiftness is nice on this patch because we also did see mobility boots get nerfed.
Yeah.
You know, again, they are more expensive, so just a nicer option to rush those Swifties now as compared to before.
Also, in a game where you're dealing with, I guess, movement slows where you...
So much.
Yeah. It's a really nice addition, so... Okay. Chocho changing the build here a little bit on the Leona. Move to the top side, as I was saying. Drop the ward down, then position back bot here with Photic. Level 6 on both of these bottom laners, SMLZ and Cold. They're 6, maybe not as influential as the lockdown available from top esports. Well, now look mid. Rift Herald there. Knight with Satchel Charge. That's pretty close to kill range on that turret.
That's also just a great play coming out from top because it forced Curse to waste that TP. And now if you look at it, top are going to be the ones who have TP advantage on 369. They're going to be able to start forcing plays on the bot side of the map.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, and that TP really not influential, not what you'd want here. So we're seeing another strong early game here from top esports in game number 2. but this time it looks like it leads to more avenues, more locations, because a lot of questions in draft, but they have been answered, and we're now at a point where Top, using that advantage, walking towards the mid lane. How close is Knight? I've played Ziggs in a while.
And we do see 369 going towards that Blade of the Rune King versus the Ornn, meaning that current HP, 12%, the 12% current HP damage will come in handy in the game, will be very good for his laning phase.
You're going to land him in there, though. Solar Flare is the follow-up. Here comes the Mega Inferno Bomb cold. The damage isn't there yet from Knight, but that pushes out the support, and another wave incoming here for Top Esports.
Again, it's very strange because you do have a pseudo siege comp with the Varus, Ziggs, and Elise, but then just, again, you have kind of follow-up engage coming from the Leona and the Renekton if you do poke them low enough to decide to want to go in afterwards.
Renekton, of course, not there. The flash here from Icon. He wants to take the engage, but doesn't land the ulti. The re-engage here from Top Esports, super easy. Even teleport used from 369. 5 members mid. You ready for the satchel charge? I've been waiting. There it is, the Icon above the turret. Use it! Not yet.
That was just very confusing coming out from Icon, trying to force that engage himself. He doesn't have any of his slow items that we will see him pick up later on, like the GLP, like the Twin Shadows. So him just kind of gambling, hoping that Top Esports don't move out of the way, and then gets blown up very easily.
I mean, we've seen, the best and worst of Icon this split, but we've been sticking with the best because OMG have been so successful as of late. And that's kind of like more of the Icon we saw last year where he'd be inconsistent between games. Not a good start here for the mid lane Nico of OMG. 20 CS down. As Knight finally gets the turret, he gets the solo gold for it as well. And Top Esports, 4,000 gold up just about at 12 minutes. I've got more turret plays to work with in the top lane as well. And you know what? Here, the damage is too much. Curse, good little good defense, I guess. But Top Esports still get it, and this turret will go with it too, with the TP incoming.
Both games, Top have just done so well playing around the pressure through their Renekton. So great coming out from 369 and Top as a whole. It's very hard for Hacker to find opportunities in both games because his first one both times just kind of flubbed and didn't work out with Top responding appropriately.
Now in this game, look, you're in such a difficult position here from OMG. The second turret going down. What's the response from OMG? I mean, they're towards the bottom side, and Ziggs just takes turrets so damn quick.
He does, and we talked about how it would have been nice if we could have seen Hacker look towards the mid lane early on when you do have something like the Nico that can help set you up. But after that failed gank bot, Top had pressure in both of their side lanes, and it was very hard for Hacker to find an avenue into this mid lane.
And now I'm going to ask you, how do they find an avenue into this game? Because OMG have just been shut out from that first fight towards the bottom lane. They're falling behind so quickly. The snowball from Top doesn't stop.
When you are 5k behind at 13 minutes, it is very hard just to find any avenue into the game. But as OMG we talked about, they do have scaling on their side. They do have Ornn items. They do have a Kai'Sa. If you can slow it down, you have a ton of CC in your comp. You have a ton of damage. But all the cards are in Top's hands. They control if this game slows down or not.
I was going to say, the control is just so hard to deal with from Top where they haven't stopped the pace just yet. And speaking of pace, first items completed on the board here. 369 this game, by the way. Going for Blade of the Ruined King. That'll be completed shortly. Blade of the Ruined King on the Varus there for Photic. Luden's Echo for Knight here. The first item on the almost level 11 Ziggs.
And Runic Echoes being a huge one for Karsa. We talked about how AP junglers really need that item before they really start feeling like they do a whole lot of damage. And we're talking about how OMG would want to slow this game down. It is hard now that you have things like the Drake Soul in the game where you really can't ignore that objective. If you get up to 4, you have to start fighting.
And you're looking at an Infernal or Mountain Soul. If it's Infernal on Ziggs, but Chocho paused that because OMG may have found a pick here. Chocho goes willingly, Solar Flare locks on down. The Ornn ult misses and hits no one. Now OMG have to disengage because the whole team of Top Esports are here. Flash for flash, but Curse has none of that. Top Esports with the opening kill, and Icon in the brush. What can he do?
OMG trying to find a pick, but they are just too far behind. Top are already headed towards the spot side for this Dragon, and just finding a very easy pick onto Curse. Wouldn't have mattered if he hit the Call of the Forge God or not.
They stand behind the turret, and you see OMG just get poked out by Knight. This Ziggs pick is oppressive as hell to deal with, and Photic throws up the thumbs up. The top esports, they know they have everything to win this game. It's a 6K gold lead at 15 minutes. Infernal Soul, it's a mount. Okay. Still bad, but not as bad as an Infernal Soul could have been.
Still, any soul will make you happy coming out from either team, right? If you can get up to those 4, get that shield coming in, will be harder for either team to pick you off, especially for OMG, who will already be building resistances on their team. So getting the amplification from the Drakes in general will just be really nice. But again, the cards are all in Top's hands. They're 6K gold ahead now, 15 minutes. We are going to be looking towards things like a 22-minute Baron.
Oh no, SMLZ. Oh no, he cleanses at the wrong time. Ulties into a wall because he has nowhere else to go. Now, sure, 369 will survive for now in the turnaround. OMG committing though. Icon here gets the slow on down, gets the tangle buff, and that should be a dead top laner. OMG with the first real moment in this game, and they'll get their first turret as well.
This even goes back to us saying the cards are in Top's hands, so because that wasn't really anything engaged by OMG themselves. That was 369 trying to get the solo kill onto OMG. It is unfortunate that he gives over that kill. Good job by OMG capitalizing, but Top still come out ahead, pushing in mid-wave and getting the Rift Herald.
The Rift Herald big as well. Remember, on the map right now, you have nothing but inner turrets and inhibitor turrets for top esports. The value of that is going to be going way, way up.
That's why I was saying we're potentially looking at something like a 20-minute Baron coming into this game with how far ahead Top is, and with champions like Ziggs and Varus that can just burn a Baron down.
And doesn't that speed suit the top esports we came into 2020 expecting? A faster team that plays around this mid lane Knight, or, you know, Karsa coming into the roster as well. They have played around solo lanes this game. They have played around their jungle. It's good to see a more refreshing style of top esports. It's
also the style of top esports that we saw in week 1, where they took down LNG and EDG and were like, oh wow, this team is a top contender. Yuyanja might be making some mistakes, but Fotik was showing up really well week 1. Karsa looked on point, Knight looked on point individually, and then they started struggling, which was really the question mark.
It's that big break. A lot of people don't remember that 2 months was the break time for the LPL.
2 months is practically a whole split.
Yeah. Essentially, it's the duration of the normal spring split itself, so 6 is just so annoying. But hang on, opportunity here for OMG. They might have caught out top esports on the back of the Dragon, but Hacker goes low and goes golden. He's teleport right into the middle here. It's the top laner in 369. He then jumps on in. SMLZ goes into the rest of the team. And Top, you know, they're so far ahead, even with a great engage. OMG, lose one, lose a fight, and back away.
Great engage, but it was onto Karsa, who does have the repel, so they pretty much blew all of their tools. And then Knight and Fotik just able to turn around, dish out that poke damage, 369 TP in, and now they're going to be able to get an inhibitor at around 18 minutes. They decide it's too dangerous, but
they didn't need it. They got Rift Herald and then Satchel Charge after the charge. It's just such, you don't see him in competitive play, so it's so exciting when you look at the potency of that W. Knight's been using it well. That's 4 turrets now picked up with the help of that ability. And look at what top esports have on the map. They've got themselves a bit of time to reset. They've got red buff, blue buff coming up. They've got a Dragon in a minute 30. And they got this fight after OMG started.
We talked about how OMG really do have a lot of options to get on top esports, and they don't have any peeling options. But when you blow everything on the Elise, who can't just repel, wait for 369 to TP in, you just don't have any damage to follow up. SMLZ having really nowhere to go. He was dead regardless. And top esports coming out with 1 pick.
1? Not the game yet. Now that's my optimism for OMG. We've been talking a lot about top esports, and for a squad like OMG, here in this second game, it feels like they're about to be 2-0. Not my expectations coming into this series, because I personally picked OMG to be the better team.
We were talking about this before broadcast, where I agreed. I said, OMG are the better team, but I expect Top to come out ahead today. We've just seen so many times in LPL when there's a team willing to just draft strong lanes when they do have players like Knight, like 369. It's just very, very easy to imagine them coming out ahead here. OMG really disappointing and falling flat.
And at least game 1, we got to see why they're a stronger team. As Knight's TPing out, he thought he was getting dove. That wasn't spotted out. Now they're like, hang on, Knight's bottom lane. So TP used, and the siege continues with 2 members backing in the top side. With Curse has TP, but they're going to just lose this turret.
Top just being ahead on the rotation might even be able to force another inhibitor. You already talked about how strong Ziggs is at pushing structures. And OMG might be forced to look for another engage, or they're just going to get whittled down.
Who does it come through? Cold, Hacker, no flash on the Jarvan.
It has to be Hacker.
Okay.
Open call to Forge God, Hacker and Icon
Wow.
jump in, give SMLZ room to damage.
Cold just gets half health as well. Now he has a stone plate, but he can't start this fight off. He's backing away. And top Esports are just staying towards this bottom side inhibitor turret.
Talking about stone plates too, Hacker hasn't been able to finish his yet, so he's actually not very tanky on this Jarvan. He just gets blown up if he jumps in.
Still sitting there with the broken stopwatch with the chain vest. Here comes top. 5 versus 5, and the Ziggs keep poking them down. So annoying to deal with. Is Soul Play there onto Cole. The Mega Inferno Bomb right through the middle. Burst down Cole. He uses the stone plate. Curse comes in with Call the Forge God to dissuade top. Maybe that works, but there's so much used to defend.
And it's like we just talked about, Hacker doesn't have a stone plate yet himself. Cold was forced to burn his already. No one is actually tanky enough to jump into top.
So top, move away. Confidence in hand. And towards this Mountain Dragon. We're not going to see a soul this game, that I'm confident of. Not unless OMG can pull something out of the hat at this point, but a bit of bonus stats here for the Renekton, and I guess for Chocho.
So now we're going to start moving over towards the Baron. Top does have all the priority to set up for that. The only kind of maybe cheeky play that OMG can come out with is, again, they do have the double TP on Icon and Curse. Maybe you can try and send both of them down to the bot lane, get a pick onto 369, and then top really can't force the Baron since you're both able to just TP over.
Also, because the Ziggs continually checks it with his Mega Inferno Bomb, that with a Cloud Dragon and with Luden's Echo, that's almost halfway up.
Just one Cloud Dragon. Doesn't actually do much.
10%, man.
10%, but...
That's numbers. That's percentage.
But we do see 369 coming out with the Black Cleaver now, so will be a bit beefier himself, have a bit more cooldown, rotating those spells faster. And the Rage Blade on Varus, again, very important for his on-hit build. So top just getting closer and closer to their big power spikes. We don't even see 2 items out yet from Hacker, from Icon, from Curse. So top will feel really good in these fights going forward.
SMLZ the only one who has those 2 items, but the Manamune at 22 minutes still not stacked up. Has not become the Maroon Mana. Hacker, that's not him. It's Icon once again. The flash forward. He gets a good ulti. There's the Wombo, but double golden as Knight finds Icon on the return. OMG at least getting one. Call the Forge God is here. On to 2 members. SMLZ starting to whop out the damage as Chocho goes tanky. For OMG, they get something. They stop top Esports in their track as Hacker jumps back in, but here comes 369. Oh no, the land down under, the plunder from top Esports at the end of the day still works out.
Icon being extremely aggressive and decisive, saying, hey, we need to find a pick or we're just going to slowly bleed out in this game. But we just saw all the damage that top has. Heck, Hacker ulted onto Fokick and realized, oh my god, he can solo kill me in this Cataclysm. I need to flash and get out of here.
Within 0.5 seconds as well. He's like, I'm just going to do it for added effect, I guess.
Now it's all up to Hacker doing what Karsa did in game 1. Can he find the hero steal?
This would bring the game back, but Chocho on zoning duty. Hacker needs to get in there. He doesn't have the flash now or never, and it's never. Secured by 369 at the end of the day. Chocho flashes over the wall.
Chocho doesn't care. The team got Baron. Your own flash doesn't matter. If your carries can consistently lay down the poke, you come out ahead.
I love that we have emotes in the LPL. It's just been the best addition. So, dotting the I's, crossing the T's for top Esports. It's come down to a 9k gold lead at 24 minutes. And OMG, the chances in this game still withering. Now, you talked about scaling before. We're a long way away from that. We are so far from getting SMLZ to this 4th, 5th item, from the Nico getting anywhere near, from the Ornn upgradable items.
Listen, we are 10,000 gold ahead on the side of top. Take the word scaling and get out of here.
You said it earlier on.
You know, I said it earlier on when it was relevant. There is no scaling right now. We have a 10,000 gold advantage on top Esports. We have a 3-item Ziggs.
That's why I said that they're nowhere near.
You did say that.
I did. Hey, You know, I know you just joined LPL, but sometimes I say some okay things, you know? You know what? It's been nice, because Raz used to yell at me on cast. And that was just horrible. Now he can't be here to defend himself, so big shout out there. Hey, remember, RNG EDG is coming up after this. So this for us was a good, I guess, warm-up to see, all right, where is OMG and Top Esports sitting right now? We're getting a pretty definitive answer. That next series, 9th and 10th, by the way. And for Top Esports, they're one step away from securing 4th here. OMG going 5th.
Very important for placements. Like you said, both teams are sitting at 5 and 3, so being able to just secure more security, secure more security going into playoffs.
I like you gotta, hey, when you secure more security, dude, you got so much security, you don't know what you're doing anymore.
Well, I'm supposed to be here to analyze League of Legends, not use words.
Secure security, that's your an expert, that 500 IQ statement. Thank you. Thank you for your addition to this team.
But now going back to the game, hysterics.
Super important right now. Look, all turrets are dead. All inhibitor turrets are dead.
Top just doing what they need to do, forcing all 3 lanes. OMG, once again, like last game, have really 2 bad options. You either slowly bleed out and wait for a better opportunity to show itself, or you just hard commit now and hope you can get on top of the Ziggs and the Varus.
Pick a lane, any lane. Caster is sitting mid with the Baron buff. Middle inhibitor is broken. 369 is huge. An Icon. We're going to help Curse deal with him, but Caster just channeling minions through the mid wave. And what do you do? Well, you go for the engage. You said the bad option gets picked Caster into the repel, but can he get out? Yes, he can with the flash away. That's ult down for Curse. Maybe Top Esports just take this and run.
Now you have... Ooh. I would think taking this and running is probably the good option, but you do force all 3 inhibitors now. You can back, get reset, get items under your belt and go for the dragon, but Top says no.
Top say, let's try and end it here. We have a Ziggs, and we have that satchel charge. Let's go for it. Good bop back onto Curse and Hacker. Here is 5 versus 5. They're going to back away. We've already got 3 inhibitors.
This is not a good idea by Top. This is being very greedy. Just back, reset, get your items, and go to the dragon.
They also watched IG yesterday with very similar endings to Game 1 and 2.
Aced right in front of the Nexus twice.
They decided to take the full 5-on-5. Catch them unawares. Well, we got a bit more time because Top still going to win this game. Still going to 2-0. And again, remember that before this series started, both Top and OMG were sitting 5 and 3, but because of the individual games, OMG held 4th, Top held 5th. After this, the head-to-head plus the 6-3 for Top means they sit 4th, and again, we can start calling them a top team. Because I feel like we haven't been able to do that. Even though recently DMO, JDG 2-0s have started to look good, this is kind of like the icing on the cake.
The tough thing about classifying Top as a top team is that, okay, they have 3 losses. 2 of them are to RNG and IG. Very respectable. But even when we look at a lot of their wins, they're just so messy and so reliant on their individuals, and not even necessarily in the same way that IG is. They're very messy and very skirmish-oriented. To me, they're like a better version of Suning. They're not necessarily great in these team fights, not necessarily great shot calling, but if you get into these skirmishes where individual talent can shine, they just do so well.
Through 9, that's through 369. I mean, in a way, I always related them to IG. We did just see a flash dredge line, but I'm still waiting for the fight to come through.
And to be fair, this game they didn't even need to use that skirmishing. They just played around their pressure so well, have rotated around the map consistently, taking objectives, and really just poking and sieging OMG out from their turrets.
I think just Caster's positioning right, and Cho's earlier engage that you talked about with Hacker. 2 defining moments here in this game that Top Esports are like, okay, Baron's up in 45 seconds. They're literally just trying to poke them down and get something. But we're just going to sit in front of this for a while. Now, Cole gets the engage, but it's on the Cho. Just channel them in. Sure. We'll be here for a while.
This is what Top need to do. They don't really want to engage themselves and dive a 5-man squad under their Nexus turrets. You do have the Varus, you have the Ziggs. Just keep poking down.
Yeah, you were saying. Okay, engage forward. Hacker gets stunned up as well. Call the Forge God goes there as Photic gets engaged onto the backline. SMLZ jumps in once again as well. Icon with the Pop Blossom as SMLZ is getting targeted here by 369. He will die, but OMG have defended pretty well.
No.
Until now. I was about to say, for a team that's so far behind, Top Esports have won this one. It was only a matter of time in that regard. And Curse, the last one left, as an exposed Nexus now stands. And what more can you say? Game 1 was fun. Game 2 was a slaughter. Top Esports secure 4th, and they are once again a top team in the LPL.
Top Esports just showing us that